Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a technology that is totally changing the game for how companies in South Africa find their next superstar employee. I'm talking about artificial intelligence. But, the big question is it the perfect solution for hiring, or does it come with a whole new set of problems? So let's just jump right in with a question that honestly feels like it's pulled from a sci-fi movie, but it's getting more real every single day. Could an algorithm, a robot, really be the one deciding who gets a job? It's a huge idea. But to really get a grip on its potential, we first have to understand the problem it's trying to solve. Before we can even talk about the AI solution, we've got to talk about the problem. And for so many businesses, hiring the old-fashioned way is just a massive, constant headache. I want you to picture this. You post a job and bam, you're buried under hundreds, maybe even thousands of applications. Trying to find that one perfect person in all that noise, it is exactly like searching for a needle in a haystack. It just burns through so much time and so many resources. All that work means the process takes forever and costs a ton of money. But maybe the biggest issue is, well, us. It's the human element. We all have unconscious biases, and that can lead to really inconsistent and, frankly, unfair screening. You can see why the whole system is just screaming for an upgrade. So, if the old way is so broken, what does the new way even look like? Well, this is where artificial intelligence steps into the spotlight, promising to be the hero of our recruitment story. But how different is it really? Okay, when you put them side by side, the difference is, wow, it's night and day. We're talking about shrinking a process that takes months down to just a few days. All that manual, subjective guesswork is replaced by automated, data-driven analysis. And instead of just reaching the people who are actively looking for jobs, AI can find amazing talent from a much, much wider pool. The promise here is huge, a hiring process that's faster, smarter, and has a way bigger reach. So how does this magic actually happen? Well, it starts with sourcing. The AI can find incredible candidates who aren't even looking for a new job. Then comes the screening, where it can zip through thousands of resumes in minutes, looking for exactly the right skills. And finally, the assessment phase can use really cool things like games or challenges to test what people can actually do. It's a total reinvention of the hiring pipeline from top to bottom. But, and you knew there was a but coming, right? It's not quite that simple. Every great story has a twist. And in the world of AI hiring, that twist is something I like to call the ghost in the machine. Is this tech really as unbiased as it claims to be? And that ghost has a name: algorithmic bias. Now, this is the most critical thing to understand. An AI is only as good as the data you feed it. So if your past hiring data shows that you hired more men for tech jobs, guess what? The AI learns that pattern and starts doing the same thing, potentially shutting out perfectly qualified women at a massive scale. It just reflects our own old biases back at us. And this isn't just a hypothetical problem. It's very real. That's why the source material is so direct about this. It says bias in these tools must be actively monitored and mitigated. That means you can't just switch it on and walk away. These systems need constant human oversight to make sure they're actually being fair. All right, let's bring this whole conversation right back home, because trying to use these tools here in South Africa adds a whole new layer of complexity and, honestly, a huge amount of responsibility. And the reason for that is our country's employment equity legislation. This law says that hiring isn't just about finding the best person for the job. It's about actively promoting fairness and fixing the inequalities of the past. And that legal framework, it's completely non-negotiable when you're hiring in South Africa. And this table just lays out the central conflict perfectly. On one hand, you have the Employment Equity Act, which is all about promoting fair representation. But on the other hand, an AI trained on old data could do the exact opposite. It could just repeat the same inequalities the law is trying to get rid of. It might learn to screen people out based on things that are proxies for their race or gender, like their name or what university they went to, which is in direct violation of the goal of eliminating unfair discrimination. So what do? You've got this incredibly powerful tool that has a really dangerous flaw, and you're trying to use it in a legally sensitive environment. Well, the answer isn't about choosing the human or the machine. It's about figuring out the right partnership between them. This brings us to what might be the most important takeaway of all. AI should never be the final decision maker. It is an unbelievably powerful assistant for doing the heavy lifting, all that sourcing and initial screening. But that final, subtle decision has to rest with a human being who can bring context, empathy, and ethical judgment to the table. This chart pretty much sums up the perfect balance. Let the AI handle the bulk of the work, right? The 70%, that's all about data crunching and speed. But that critical 30%, the final judgment call, the interview, figuring out cultural fit, that has to stay firmly in human hands. The goal here is to augment our abilities, not to replace us. So, let's pull all this together. What have we learned? 1. AI can make hiring incredibly fast and efficient. 2. Algorithmic bias is a huge risk you cannot ignore. 3. In South Africa, our employment equity laws mean you have to be extra careful. And that leads us to the big conclusion. The best way forward is a hybrid model, a partnership, using AI for its power, but always relying on human oversight for fairness and the final call.
And that leaves us with a really crucial question for the future. As this tech gets more and more woven into our workplaces, what will truly fair hiring look like? Is the answer human, machine, or a really thoughtful partnership between the two? The way we answer that is going to define the workforce of tomorrow. Thanks for watching The Explainer.